Thank you for being here. My name is Angie Duplass, and I'm a community sourcer for the Orlando area facilities. I've been with AdventHealth for 4 years, and I'm just really an honored to be part of this journey. So let's go ahead and meet our panel, and we'll start off with Patrick.
All right, thank you, Angie. Appreciate the introduction. Appreciate everyone being here, and welcome to the website. My name is Patrick O'Sullivan. I'm currently the Regional Director of Laboratories. I cover several of our smaller hospitals right now, and I have been with AdventHealth for 40 years. So I started when I was 6 years old, and I've been working here ever since. But the real pleasure that I've had is that I've been able to have many different roles in my career. And in one of the questions later, I'll describe all the different roles I've had. But I've always loved working here. Otherwise, there's opportunities elsewhere, and I did not take those because I always love coming back to work for AdventHealth. So welcome again, and we have a great set of people here today, and I know they're getting ready to introduce themselves. And I'll turn it over to Angie for the next person. Thank you.
Great. Let's pass it on to Sonali, please.
Hi, my name is Sonali Cosme, and I'm also a regional director for the South region in Central Florida. I oversee 3 labs in Polk County, so the laboratories of Heart of Florida, AdventHealth, Lake Wells, and the ED in Four Corners. Believe it or not, I've been with AdventHealth for 15 years already, going to the 16th year. It's been a great pleasure to be a facilitator and to grow within this organization.
Thank you. Let's meet Angela.
Hi, good morning. I'm Angela Charles. I am the microbiology manager at AdventHealth at the Orlando campus. I have been working with AdventHealth for 17 years now. I actually started working at AdventHealth when it was Florida Hospital, and I went through their MLS program that they had at the hospital, and starting in microbiology as a lab assistant, and went from a lab assistant to a technologist to assistant manager, and now the manager at AdventHealth.
Wonderful, thank you. Michelle, would you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Santana. So I have a division role. My role is as a laboratory system support manager. So my department oversees all the accreditation, regulation, policy and procedures, billing compliance for all the laboratories in the North-South market and also Polk County. I have been with the organization 14 years, and I started as a bench technologist and have been growing within the organization as a supervisor, a manager, and now currently holding a division role. So very excited to meet everyone today.
Thank you so much. Let's meet Gabriela.
Good morning. My name is Gabriela Duran Vargas. I am the laboratory operations manager at AdventHealth Apopka. I have been with the organization for 16 years, and I am very excited to be here today and talk a little bit more about our career opportunities and organization with you all today. Thank you.
Thank you. And also joining us this morning is Miss Estefania. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and sharing with us about your role here.
Sorry, I was muted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Estefania Medina, and I am a recruiter with AdventHealth. I support the majority of the laboratory positions in our Central Florida South Division. I have been with the organization for 1 year, so I am much newer than everyone, but I love my job. My role in this event is going to be moderating the chat. So please direct any questions that you have to the chat. I will do my absolute best to answer them. So I am very excited to be here.
Thank you so much. And thank you again, everybody who's joining us this morning. And if you came a little late, don't forget to use that chat. If it's a full screen, it'll be a chat box that you can move around your screen. If not, it'll be over off to the right-hand side. But do use that so that we can connect with you. And we'll be answering questions throughout our time together, but also utilize some of those questions for a Q&A at the very end. But let's go ahead and dive right into the big question that's on everybody's mind. Patrick, if you would share with us, for what areas are you hiring right now?
Well, for us, this is a great time to talk to those interested in working at AdventHealth because we have so many opportunities in our system. We've seen phenomenal growth actually over the last several years, and we are experiencing the post-COVID changes that's happened in laboratories. So as most laboratories have done, and certainly we have, we've expanded our COVID testings to all of our facilities. So we're actually doing PCR in all of our facilities. And people like Angela, who's joining us today, have been at the forefront in bringing on technology at a pace we've never seen before. So this has created opportunities throughout our laboratory. And at this moment in time, we have 37 openings in the regions that we all represent between the greater Orlando regions and Polk County. About 3/4 of those are full-time. They cover everything from generalists, whether they be generalists at our main hospitals or at our smaller hospitals, to specialty areas like microbiology, like serology, like tissue typing, where Gabby comes from. And those blood bank, another area in there. So lots of opportunities for everybody, day shift, night shifts, part-time opportunities if you're looking for that. And even some opportunities which come and go out in our freestanding market, which is our freestanding EDs that we do. So lots there, and we hope that you want to join AdventHealth and help us out.
Wonderful. So some thoughts on candidates who are interested in joining our team. Angela, would you share some things that you look for in an ideal candidate?
Sure. I definitely look for someone who's a good team player and has good work ethic. Someone who likes to take initiative and is motivated and wants to learn new things. Definitely learning new things is something that we do on a daily basis, and eventually like to teach those things because working at a main campus, a core laboratory like microbiology, we have a lot of students, and so we're always teaching. So someone who isn't scared to learn things and then eventually teach those things to others.
That sounds amazing. Sonali, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well.
Sure. We look for, like Angela said, self-motivated candidates, but also know the impact that our job makes in the community, especially as a laboratorians right now through COVID. We've been in the spotlight, right? Through all the hard work or the new tests that we have to come up with to help our community move this pandemic. That we can never forget, just like every day we do, every sample we touch is a patient, but that patient can also be my mom, my dad, my sister, and people that we care of. So that's what makes the difference of working for AdventHealth and also for our laboratory, because definitely it's a big impact in our community, and we make a difference.
Wow, thank you. Tell us, what's a typical day like in for lab technologists in your department? If you wouldn't mind sharing some, Angela.
Sure. I have a large department in microbiology. It is a core microbiology department, so it services all of the Central Florida hospitals in Orlando. So we are a specialized department. We do not do chemistry or blood banking or anything like that. It's typically only bacteriology, culture plate reading, susceptibility, testing for organisms for all the providers and infectious disease doctors that are in our community. We do a lot of, like Patrick said, the PCR definitely has taken off this year and added in a lot of COVID analyzers. And but before COVID, we still did PCR for things like gonorrhea, chlamydia, MRSA, strep A. So I have a lot of technologists that cross-train between all those areas, and we also include things like parasitology. We still look for parasites. I have a department that works with AFB and mycology, cheeses and molds. So it's definitely a little bit different than what would happen at the cases where you're more of a generalist. So it's definitely a specialized area in my area.
Wow, thank you so much. What about you, Gabby?
Yes, I work at the Apopka site. So we have a laboratory with all areas. Our technologists are generalists. They rotate throughout the week through the different lab areas, such as chemistry, hematology, coagulation, urinalysis, microbiology, which is a smaller section compared to the microbiology that Angela does. And we also do blood bank supporting transfusion and blood bank workup for our patients. So throughout the day, we collaborate and communicate with other caregivers. We talk to the nursing team, to imaging, surgery. And when we talk about patient results, how can we support the care, reporting sometimes critical results and other values. We review our test results. Sometimes we do some automated testing. Sometimes it's a little bit more manual when we have to look in the microscope and do other checks. And all of this, we ensure that we do it in an accurate and timely manner for our patients.
Thank you. Sonali, I'd love to hear your perspective as well.
Sure, thank you. Like I said, just like Angela and Gabriela have said, yes, we also meet with turnaround times, right? We like to be there and on time for our patients. But yes, it is an interdepartmental collaboration when you're a generalist. And then for specific areas, yes, you definitely dedicate time to that full area. Even though it's busy again, but we can see the impact that it creates in the community and to the hospital, because there's a lot of collaboration interdepartmental wise.
Wow, thank you. So Michelle, just kind of taking a step back, if you would tell us a little bit about laboratory department at AdventHealth across all regions.
Of course. So, we cover our Central Florida Division covers from Daytona Beach, which we call it the North Market, our South Market, which is more the Orlando area, and then the Polk County. We have laboratories that are as small as what we call a freestanding emergency department, which it's only 25 beds. In these laboratories, the technologists are usually working by themselves. It's 12-hour shifts most of the time. We have bigger laboratories, so those candidates will have to be generalists. And then we have our smaller campuses, which are also have to be generalists, but they have all areas of the lab: micro, hematology, chemistry, transfusion services. We do the core lab testing. Any specialty tests, we would send them out to either, let's say, Daytona in the North Market, or we would send them to the Orlando campus in the South Market, where they do more specialized testing. Our Orlando hospital has about 1,700 beds. So all our labs are mostly fast-paced. But they have in the Orlando campus, they have more specialized. So for example, the campuses may do microbiology that are the rapid testing, but then if you need a culture, that would be sent out to the Orlando campus, where they would be doing the culture setup, the reading, antibodies, susceptibilities, things like that. Also for transfusion services, they would be doing antibody typing over in the Orlando campus. When we started with COVID last year, by April, we were already starting to do COVID testing. We are into technology. Orlando has an automated line. So all the lab assistants will load it. The samples will go to the different departments in hematology and chemistry. So we are also into technology, and we're always looking for instrumentation to provide quality results for our patients.
That is amazing. How exciting too. So Patrick, what kinds of things set AdventHealth apart from other organizations?
Well, I really like this question because it's part of the reason that I've stayed here for 40 years. And I really think our focus is on the employees. We have great teams. All of us work with great teams. We all work together. Everybody on this call works in a different physical location, yet we all work together. So that's a cool thing. But we focus on the patient. We focus on our customers. So we know why we're here. And we really focus on our mission to extend the healing ministry of Christ. And that's what it's about. And I think that's what keeps us together. So that focus, no matter where you come from, it's a great focus to have. But I think the other things from a laboratory end that people can see when they come here is that we have a diverse set of instrumentation. We're on the cutting edge many times. A lot of times we're bringing in things first. You can work at a small campus, and like I said before, you can do PCR. I mean, so that we have all this equipment available that's new. We're constantly forging ahead. We're fast paced. And this is, if you like change and you'd like to be a part of it, it's a really good thing. And we've got things coming on the horizon. We're looking forward. We're moving our information systems to Epic, and that'll join us more across our institution and create this oneness on one IT platform that we do here. And one of the things that working here gives everyone is a sense of responsibility. You got to own it, and that's one of our key service standards, is owning it. And it's a good thing. So you can really expand your career and really do great things.
Thank you so much. So I want to get a little personal. And Gabby and Angela, I want to hear from both of you. Why did you choose your career? And then what attracted you to the AdventHealth brand?
Yes, thank you, Angie. I chose medical technology because I do love science. I find it fascinating to know how the body works and reacts to different factors. I am passionate about the impact we can make in patient care, diagnosis, and treatment. Like Patrick mentioned earlier, when I joined AdventHealth, Florida Hospital at the time in 2005, I joined tissue typing, the histocompatibility lab that works with transplant. It's a field that I was not aware of. I was always fascinated with the medical technology, even growing up, but tissue typing and histocompatibility, I was not too familiar with when I started as a medical technologist, and discovering this entire new field was very exciting for me. I stayed with them for 10 years, and then I continued to grow in the generalist lab and the general lab as a coordinator and then as a manager. Now, what attracted me to AdventHealth and their brand was the culture of care and healing, which starts with the teams and is extended to the community. I also like the holistic approach, caring for the mind, body, and spirit. This empowers the teams and it heals the patients and the visitors as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Angela, share your story, please.
Yes, I also I have the same kind of, I love science, like Gabby said. It's definitely something that I've always been interested in, is science. And I also like to help people. But I know that my personality and my qualities, wouldn't allow me to be like a nurse or something like that. So this was something where I could enjoy, helping others and still get to do science in the background and help people in the background. I actually started working in a microbiology environmental lab before I even really learned about the clinical side of things. So what attracted me to the Florida Hospital, now AdventHealth at the time, was their mission statement of extending the healing ministry of Christ. So that's really why I chose to go to their program for the MLS and have stayed there since then.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So I kind of want to tap on Michelle and Sonali and take that and just put a little twist on it and see, would you share with me what makes AdventHealth an amazing place to work? How long have you been here and what keeps you here? And I know you touched a little bit earlier on how long you've been here, but I just want to bring that into the sense of, what keeps you at AdventHealth?
So sure, Angie. So I've been here for 14 years. I started here as Florida Hospital and now with AdventHealth. And truly, and I know it's been said multiple times during the discussion about how AdventHealth takes care of body, mind, and spirit. And truly, that has been one of my main reasons that I've stayed at AdventHealth within the organization itself, because I've never worked before in an organization that really takes care of their employees, that's really one of the reasons why I've stayed here. The other reason is growth. I also, when I started, I knew I wanted to grow within the organization, and I've been given the tools and the opportunities to grow within the organization, leadership classes that have prepared me into the role that I am today, and also the environment. I mean, really, when you work in the laboratory world, it's small, even though you people outside of us may think it's big, but really we all know each other. We really take care of each other. You always feel that you have someone has your back when you need it.
Agree. If I can continue, I would like to add to Michelle's thought about our service standard, something that I also enjoy. Love me, keep me safe, own it, and make it easy. Definitely very important things that we would love to have in an organization that takes care of you as an employee, but also doing what you like to do. When I got in this field, I always wanted to be a scientist. So what a better opportunity to do it within an organization that can help me also keep myself balanced and keep the work that I would like to do.
I would be deeply remiss if I didn't take a moment to celebrate all of these wonderful women scientists in leadership. Just how beautiful that is, and just smashing those stereotypes of, what is for girls and what girls can and can't do. And thank you for what you do and for who you are. So Patrick, since you started your career at 6 years old, what made you want to get into it? And then how has the mission of Advent Health affected your career?
Yeah, I go back to the other guys a little bit. I wanted to be a scientist. I was the geeky kid with the glasses and the pen protector and stuff like that. So, but as I got into college, I really wanted a job when I got out of college, and that was, and I looked at different things, going into microbiology and actually ended up, I saw this medical technology, now medical laboratory science, as a career, and I thought, wow, that'll get me a job and it's science. So I went ahead and started out with that thing, and I've done a lot of things in my career, and we talk about growth and stuff as we go along here. I was a bench tech, I was a generalist, I was a blood banker, I was a manager. I helped build our LAS system. I was an assistant director. I was a director. I went off to be a hospital administrator for a little bit, and then I've come back to lab, and I'm really super happy. And and it's the opportunities for advancement here are amazing. And the biggest thing again is just it's varied. It changes every day, and I work with a great bunch of people. So that's what's good about it.
Thank you so much. So there have been a few hints about the culture of Advent Health with our service standards and our mission, but I would love to learn a little bit more about the culture of Advent Health in general, what makes it a great place. So Angela, Michelle, if you have some perspectives, I'd love to hear you offer that.
So sure, you've heard it, body, mind, and spirit. So for the culture here at Advent Health, which is again one of the things I love, when we have staff meetings, leadership meetings, we start with a prayer. We faith-based organization, and we truly focus on prayer and having the Lord guide us, and taking care of our body, our mind. We have an employee health and well-being program that gives us rewards throughout the year. So you take classes on how to take care of yourself. Even on there's a class that it's helping you to take care of your finance, to help you get in track with your finances. So you have a lot of opportunities that shows that the Advent Health is taking care of you. And then within the department, it's a family. It's a family. They take care of each other. We celebrate birthdays. We celebrate anything you can think of, babies, weddings. We celebrate everything because we are a family.
Yes, I agree with Michelle. We do celebrate everything. Even last month, my department celebrated National Popcorn Day, so we could all have popcorn together. So there's a lot that we do just to, keep, in touch with each other, because we are a very high-paced laboratory, very busy. It's a very diverse culture, very many backgrounds. I have almost 70 people working in microbiology, and so you can imagine that there's all kinds of different people from different walks of life working with us. So we try to incorporate different, events when we can. And definitely AdventHealth does have the culture of care. Through the pandemic, we've really seen how AdventHealth does care for its employees, keeping everyone employed during the whole pandemic, and ongoing still. So it's definitely a nice place to work. You definitely feel like it is your second home. So
Thank you. Sonali, would you tell me what makes a good shift preference and what is life work balance like for an AdventHealth employee?
All right. So I will say a good shift preference is pick a shift, or if you're applying for a shift that better fits your normal life. So it depends on which stage of life you are that fits you better. If you have kids, morning routines. I worked the second shift for probably the first 6 years of my career, and it fit me very well. I loved it.
Absolutely.
That's not something I can do right now. But definitely the first 6 years of my life, I worked it in the second shift. I enjoyed it. So the idea is that you are better fit on a shift that you can commit and also, again, show your strength and that you are your best of your capacity, right? That way you can perform the best, and that way you can deliver the best to our patients. So that's what I will say when you apply, think on your shift. Because of course it does take most of your day, right? You're going to be 8, 10, 12 hours working, but you also want to be at the best of your capacity, where you can deliver the best to us and to the patients, of course.
Thank you for saying that. I think that sometimes, when we step out and, we're graduating and we're really excited and we want that job opportunity, we have a tendency to think like, I'll just take whatever, and then
Right.
have this idea of, well, we'll just figure it out. So I'm really, really glad that you mentioned that. So I would love to hear, as we start to step into the conversation of career pursuit, Sonali, do you have any resume tips?
Sure. You guys are ready? It's not much. I will say in your resume, when you are putting that together, make sure it tells a little bit of your story. So of course, always subjective. What is it that you're looking for? If you want to specify, if you're looking for a specific area, just try to write a little bit about that. If you had experience with any instrument, please name them. It's very helpful to us to know what instrument have you worked with, because it gives you an idea of how fast or how long, how we train you. We know training in lab is very detail oriented due to all of our accreditory agencies that oversee lab. But please, if you have worked with instrument, even if it was through your clinical rotation, mention them, because every little help, every little that we know about you and your experience in a lab setting help us. If you did not have a lab setting and this will be your first time, I will say make sure if you have customer service, and when you go to that interview, make sure you mention any experience that you had that make a difference of you compared to others when you're there. So it's not necessarily about being a long resume, but it's a resume that has content. If you use instrument and what is your goal, and if you want to be in a specific area or not, and things that can help you narrow and fit you better in our laboratories.
That's some good stuff. Michelle, what are your thoughts?
Yes. Oh my goodness. She couldn't have explained it better. But let me add to that, and I see it a lot on new grads. They forget to list their instrumentation experience during their clinical rotations. And that is so helpful for us. It's not that it's going to eliminate you as a candidate if you didn't work with our analyzer. It's just tells us a little bit, oh, this person may be quicker to train in chemistry, may take us a longer in transfusion services, but that's okay. But it helps us create a training schedule. Also, any LIS experience that you have, if you've used Sunquest, Epic, if you use Cerner, list them there. That's something, again, that helps us with the training schedule. And like Sonali says, tell us your story, even if it's not laboratory related. Tell us what your experience is, because even as working in the customer service field in a store, it tells us that you have experience with customer service, because we're laboratory technologists, but we have customers,
Right.
so that we have to talk to every day. So you having that experience in a retail store, in a restaurant, that helps us know what type of customer service experience you have.
That's amazing. Thank you. So Patrick, what about some interview tips? So we've got the resume, everything's great. Now we are sitting in front of the manager and we're having an interview. What are some good interview tips for candidates?
Well, I think the biggest thing that you got to do is think about all the stuff that you've done. And I think both Michelle and Sonali said the right thing. You've done lots of things and used instruments or seen things that you may not think of. And it doesn't mean you need to be an expert. But the biggest thing you want to do is develop stories. So we're going to ask you questions that go beyond your technical experience, what you've used with. Is how do you work with other people? When have you had a difficult time with a coworker or with a physician or on the phone, things like that. These type of experiences, and they don't have to be lab experiences. They can be, you answer the phone, you make phone calls, you deal with people in other walks of life, and develop stories. We always want to hear, and all of us interviewed, and we all want to hear, like, hey, there was a time when this happened and it was a tough situation for me, but I worked through it, and then we all lived happily ever after. So yeah, so I always laugh because it's so true. But we do like to hear stories of things, because that really tells us about you, and it tells us we're not going to ask you yes and no questions. I will tell you that we're going to ask you questions. Tell us about a time when. And so think about these ahead of time, so because it's nervous. I mean, you're nervous and we're nervous too, believe it or not.
Yeah.
That you have these things already in your pocket, because you never know what we're going to ask, but we are going to ask a little bit about how you get along with people and how you work with other people, because the team and the employees are important to us.
Sonali, what are your thoughts? Did you want to expand on that a bit?
I would love to. I would say usually I get this question a lot, and I normally say just first be you, be authentic. And again, being you is how we can better fit you. What a better thing that to have you in a place where you can express those talents to the best of your ability. That's what I tell people. Again, you can go through interview and you can pass, but then if you didn't like it, maybe there's something you didn't bring to us in the beginning that, of course, we didn't try to fit you well. But when you're you and then your experience, if you don't know about it, you can just say it like that. But make sure, again, you remember those stories of experiences you had. Even though if you're young or younger, or like Patrick started at 6, I'm sure that interview went really awkward. But again, it just get you through, because we can fit you better, and then we can know who you are and we can connect with you.
I love that. And you mentioned stories, and it was hinted earlier about that why. And I think it's really important to point out that we wear these badges with our why. So
Yeah.
even if it's not something that you share, just knowing it, having that be your core, your center as you move forward. We have our I care for you like my, and a name of a loved one. And, so obviously that's something that we at AdventHealth value deeply, and that'll really move you forward as a candidate. So Angela and Gabby, I'd love to hear, what are some characteristics of new employees that managers are looking for? And then, are there any characteristics you feel that new students are lacking as they step into your space?
I would say that definitely looking for a positive attitude, flexible, and the willingness to learn. I'm not sure that I think that new students are lacking any characteristics. I think that they just might be nervous about, the disappointing of people that they're working for. So, it's a new thing when you get a new job, especially if it's your first job. So, we're there to teach you. You can be comfortable. Some of the specialized departments are a little bit, can be overwhelming because it is so specialized, but we like to teach, and that's what we do. So we'll always take care of you.
Yeah.
Gabby, your thoughts?
Yes, I definitely agree with Angela. And actually something that we look for and actually new graduates have is they're up for the challenge. They may not know, they know the books, they know the theory, they may not know what they're going to be facing. Things change very quickly, very often in the lab, in healthcare, talk about COVID and other things. So being up for the challenge, for change. It's definitely something that we have seen in new candidates and we love. Also, of course, for them to be team players, dedication and love for their job, detail oriented. Sonali mentioned, we not only work with very strict regulatory agencies, but we work with patients, right? And we want to make sure that we give accurate care to these patients, a very detail-oriented, patient-driven, and dedicated to provide the best care to our patients.
Thank you. So if you wouldn't mind continuing on and then sharing some things that you do for your department to increase the morale of the team.
Yes, of course. Well, promoting a collaborative culture, not only within the laboratory, but also extending it outside the lab to other departments. Like I mentioned earlier, we work with imaging, with surgery. We work on processes together with the ED, with the nursing team. So that sense of belonging to the whole patient care, it really boosts the morale of the team, knowing that they are part of this big care for our patients and that we are graded as a whole. In the department, we also celebrate milestones. Michelle mentioned we celebrate birthdays, engagements, any special occasion. And we participate in recognition at different levels, not only from leadership to the team, but among the team members. We gather every shift at the beginning of the shift, and we talk about any updates and information. The team is on the known of what's happening. We recognize team members there, so we promote that culture. Definitely. And also caring for the team and maintaining a close and timely communication. These become very evident during the past year when things were changing so often and so quickly. Maintaining an open and timely communication gave the team a sense of safety and security when things were so uncertain. So during this time, we incorporated ways to bring joy among so much stress, and we also promoted self-care as long as checking in on each other. You know, we are in this together. We were all very stressed, but knowing that, like Michelle said, that we had each other's back definitely made a big difference.
That's amazing. And popcorn day. I mean, can't forget popcorn day.
Yeah, we actually, and to Angela's point, we have a calendar in our department at the POPCA, and every day we celebrate all the national days. So it's popcorn day, it's National Puppy Day, so we share our pictures. So being dedicated to our work, but also having fun and having that sense of family, it's very important.
Thank you. And you had touched on mental health and wellness. And I just wanted to really share with people that AdventHealth takes that very seriously. We value that very much. We have so many ways that we support that, not just through our wellness programs and WebMD, but we also have employee assistance programs and just wonderful ways that we have those resources available to us. Something else that was touched on a few times, and some of you have shared some amazing points in your story about career growth. But Patrick, if you wouldn't mind, what opportunities for career growth are available for lab technologists?
Well, I've got to talk about this a second. I do want to take one opportunity to mention I see a lot of people out there in the chat are experienced. And we love people that come with lots of experience to our organization, as well as people who are coming out of school. I see chat where there's people coming out of school, they're getting ready to graduate, they're thinking about a career in medical laboratory science. So I'm seeing all these things pop out as we're talking. And the nice thing about our organization is there's spots for everybody. So if you're brand new out of school, we love to talk to you. There's opportunities, and you'll start from the bottom and work your way up. And if you have experience, it's great to plug you in where you have it. We will utilize your skills wherever you come from. But for career growth, I look at all of our panelists here, and I've known them all as entry-level technologists at one point in their career. I won't tell them how long ago it was, but I've known them all from when they started here at AdventHealth, and I've seen them grow in their careers, and they're directors now and senior managers, and they lead our campuses, they lead our regions, and I've had the esteemed pleasure to work with them. But what does this tell you about AdventHealth? This tells us there's opportunities for growth. If you want to go, we work with you. We help mentor you. We have some leadership programs that are available to us that help us pick people out. We're also in a market that is just growing at leaps and bounds. And the reason we're going is we're trying to serve our community and be in closer to the community that we serve. So we're seeing a lot of our freestanding emergency rooms. Well, every time we open one of those, it creates the need for a new leader, creates variety for the technologists. And we tend to often put our experienced technologists in. So there's a trickle down effect where we move leaders from one position to the other. We have to fill the next level of leadership. The opportunities abound in variation of work. So I started out as a specialist. I started out as a generalist. Actually, I started out in microbiology. So going back to Angela's day. And I was in blood bank for about 10 years. And then I was in LIS, strictly for about 10 years. So we've all had the opportunities to do different things. We worked at different campuses. I look across the board at the people here. They've worked in different departments in their career. They've worked their way up. They've had opportunities because we have large facilities and small facilities to be a generalist, to be a specialist, or to be a specialist and come back and be a generalist. So it's just amazing. And I look at everyone here and where were you 5 years ago? Well, none of us, absolutely none of us are in the role we're in today 5 years ago. We've all advanced into a different role. So I'm promoting that because you're looking at the faces of what's really happened.
You had mentioned our facilities in our region, and I noticed in our chat we have several people who are outside of Florida, and I think it's important to mention, if anybody wanted to jump in on this as well, to share, even though we are the Orlando area, our area is vastly different. So we have theme parks, several, in case you didn't know, and that really does impact, the kind of patients and things that we see, but then also the environment that we live in and the life and what that feels like to live in the area. So if anybody wanted to share, please, let people know your thoughts on what it's like to live by a theme park.
I'll comment. This is the picture of my office here. I'm really there now. Actually, this is what it's like in Florida. So if you're from another area, it's warm down here, and there is sunshine down here, and there's tons of things to do. And even in the time of COVID, you can get outside and you can do things, and you can be part of the what's going on down here. You mentioned other AdventHealth facilities. I was talking to some of the people in the chat here. West Florida, Tampa area, Daytona Beach, Palm Coast. We cover the whole expanse of Central Florida from one end of I-4 to the other. So wherever you want to come to, I encourage people to come down and enjoy the warmth, and there is no snow.
True. The same thing. I used to work at Celebration in my previous role, and definitely we can see how we touch that type of patient community or population when they're on vacation. Unfortunately, they get sick. It definitely gives you purpose. So yes.
That's amazing. As a recap, our mission is to extend the healing ministry of Christ. And I know sometimes in chats with candidates that can frequently make people feel that they have to be Christian or have a specific religious background. And I really want to let everybody know that we are absolutely focused and driven for diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we embrace everybody, all faiths, no faiths, every cultural background. So know that you are welcome here. And I think most people who work at AdventHealth will tell you the reason why they're here is because they themselves or a loved one had a personal experience. And when you feel that difference, when you see that difference, you just know that you need to be a part of this family. I'd love to reach out and maybe have some Q&A. Stephanie, if you have anybody in our chat that you see any questions or anything that you feel like people want to ask the panel, I would love to open that up. Again, jot that into the chat if you have any questions that you haven't had a chance to ask yet. We'd love to hear from you.
Hi, everyone. So I did actually just want to bring up these questions because I saw it come up a lot. So just in case anyone missed my reply, for our medical lab technologist openings, we do require the state licensure issued by the Department of Health in Florida. So I saw questions about having licenses in other states, having about to take a test. That is one of our hard requirements for the medical lab technologist position. So I wanted to put that out there, issued by the Department of Health in Florida. And then another question that was coming up a lot was about international candidates. We do provide sponsorship if the department leader wants to bring you on. So that's definitely an option. If you are an international candidate that wants to be considered, I did put my email in the chat several times, and I'll continue putting it in case anyone misses it, and it'll be presented at the end. Please email me your resume and I will get it to our international team. We do have a team that handles that. She is great. Her name is Cindy. So if that is a question that you had and you missed my reply, please email me your resume and I will get it into the right hands. And that is pretty much it as far as very common questions that I saw in the chat. We have had a very active audience, so I really, really appreciate that, keeping me busy. So I do apologize if I haven't gotten to your question. I am going to stay on after the event ends to try to address these questions that I missed. But that's pretty much it on my end.
Wow, thank you so much. I think I saw a couple people mentioned, I think they were asking questions about vets, if we embrace that, and I just want to say an emphatic yes to that we do have, we're actually in the process of having somebody that specifically works with that population, but there's a lot of wonderful tools and resources that will help you to translate skills to something that's going to be relevant to these particular kinds of positions. So we're thank you for your service. Thank you for your interest in AdventHealth and wanting to be part of this family. So yes, please do reach out to the recruiters. Again, we're going to be dropping that information in for you so that we can start having these conversations, because we really we're glad you're here, and we want you to be here.
One more thing, Angie, I saw a question about lab assistant, and I don't want to miss that group of audience that may either be considering or already finishing their career but still want to work within the lab. Yes, we do have some openings for lab assistants again, and I know they're in the career website, but again, reach out with that question. We are also welcoming those.
A lot of the stories that you heard our leaders share today is that, stories of how different AdventHealth is. And I think one of the biggest difference, and I got to brag on this, was that Terry Shaw, our leader, really kept us whole throughout the COVID experience, and that he was committed to not laying off any employees and to keeping us whole throughout the process. And there's a lot of jobs. I've had jobs that was just a job, and if you're looking for something more, that's what AdventHealth is. Um, you know, I also want to circle back around to lab techs and lab technologists. I want to make sure that that is clear for our audience or anybody who is interested. Can you share with everybody what's the difference?
Sure. I know that there's the 2-year degree program and there's the 4-year degree program. We still have within our organization both, depending right on the accreditation, how we can make sure that we are compliant. Definitely we try to fit those as well. Prefer the 4-year degree for those that are doing their degree currently or seeking that. But yes, we are inclusive of both.
Yes, and if I can add, we hire both a 2-year degree and a 4-year degree. But if you're someone who wants to grow, we do recommend the 4-year degree because there are regulations that we have to follow that a 2-year degree technician cannot work by themselves. So for example, a 2-year
Right.
degree cannot work at a freestanding ED, but they can work at a small campus hospital or Orlando as long as there's a technologist on site. So it's not that we don't hire them, we hire them, and we have many technicians that have upgraded their license to a medical technologist, because that's another difference. There's what we call an MLT, and there's also an MT with a 2-year degree. So as long as a lot of them pass the AMT boards and their license goes to be a medical technologist, even with the 2-year degree.
Yes.
So are you still conducting interviews virtually? And do you have any tips on, what best, what a candidate can do? Because I know you shared some interview tips. Are there any differences to being successful in an interview in a virtual space?
I personally don't see the difference. I embrace and love technology. I wouldn't do 60% of my job if it wouldn't be to technology, as I commute and I oversee Polk County. So that's a great example of using technology right to the best of my ability. I will say for virtual interviews, of course, just join on time. If you can, just put on the chat, comment, and things like that, as we all follow a busy schedule. But again, just try to just use it the same way if it would be a physical interview, and express your knowledge and what would you like to bring to us.
Yeah, I agree with Sonali. Definitely, it's a blessing to have technology that allow us to still connect with the candidate and still see them. So, like she said, one tip could be, besides being on time, also play with your camera, play with your audio. Technology is a blessing, but it can also be challenging at times. So be sure all those kinks are worked out. And just other than that, continue, like they said, continue to be yourself, tell us your stories, and we are excited to connect with you.
Agree. Camera is a big one usually, but yes. In the past, I used to do like conference interviews as too, so I'm used to, but again, it is a preference.
Great. And since we have the recruiter with us, Estefania, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit, once a candidate applies, what does that process looks like? What does that look like? What can they expect?
Yes, absolutely. So once a candidate applies, I will contact the qualified candidates and I will try to get you on the phone when I call you. But if I don't get you, I will follow up with an email and usually a text to schedule a time for us to chat for a few minutes. I just get in touch with you, make sure everything checks out, introduce myself, and kind of just tell you what you should expect as far as next steps. So I am the first point of contact. After that, if everything goes well, I go ahead and share your information with our hiring leaders for the position that you applied for. And then we wait for feedback. If they want to move forward with an interview, I will also assist them with scheduling that for you. So that is what to expect as far as after you apply. I will say I try to get in contact with all of my qualified applicants really within 24 to 48 hours. unless it's obviously the weekend. But yes, we try to move the process quickly. And make the experience really positive. I try to give you updates as much as I can. But yes, after you apply, you hear from me.
That's really amazing to know that you're going to be held through the process. I know sometimes it can be very daunting and lonely to apply to a job. So to know that they have a recruiter that's really there to walk alongside of them through the process is another reason why we're amazing. So thank you. We're going to wrap up soon, but I would love, as a closing, for each one of our panelists to share a service standard that they relate to as a parting word of wisdom. So again, our service standards: keep me safe, love me, own it, and make it easy. So let's go ahead and kick it off with Gabby.
Okay. That's a tough one. I really like them all. I love make it easy. It really, when it comes to the team, being innovative, being making it easy for the patients. I really love that one. But I have to say that my very favorite is own it. If you own it, if you feel like that, you know, I always use a comparison being an owner versus a renter. If you own it, you take care of where you work, you take care of your team, and you followed all of the other service standards. So that's my personal favorite.
Thank you. How about you, Angela?
I definitely would have to go with Love Me. I have a large team, and I really, truly try to, touch base with all of them, and let them know that I'm here for them. And even though I don't see them as often as I should, if they're on different shifts, but I definitely try to keep in contact with everybody. And Love Me would be my favorite one.
How about you, Sonali?
Again, like Gabriela and Angela, again, it's really hard for me to pick one. I will pick a different one because it's one of those that I highlight also. It's called Own It. I tell them we are all owner of our environment, so that way we feel that we belong. And that is sometimes really hard. Even when I started as a frontliner, it did take me some time to know that, yes, I belong here and this is my family. So Own It, I will say, is one of the best ones too. I love them all the same way. I really don't know how to rate them. But Own It is definitely a big one that we really should live for.
Michelle?
So, man, this is a hard one because it really is. All four of them are such a part of our job, but I have two favorites. I have Own It and Love Me. And I think we're all leaders here, and Own It is a big part of us, but I do see the front line also owning it a lot of the times. For me is if I pick up the phone, I'm in the lab, I pick up the phone and I'm working in chemistry, but the nurse is asking me a question about micro, I'm not going to pass it on. I'm going to own that phone call, and I'm going to try and take care of those customers. And if there's any issue as a leader in the lab, I try to own it. I try to make it easy for the staff as well. And then Love Me, and it's because I love to be part of a group that it's appreciated. So I know that all my colleagues appreciate what we do. So those are my two favorites.
And Patrick, would you like to close us out?
Well, I'm going to pick Keep Me Safe. And I actually look at that in two things. One is we want to keep our employees safe. So we're really concerned about your well-being, as well as the physical environment that you work in, and working with you, as need be to keep you safe. But the biggest thing is quality of keeping our patients safe. And we're providing a valued service, and that's what we do. And it's all about the quality that we do and the integrity of the results we put out. But all that's just to keep them safe and to allow their healthcare givers to make great decisions in their care. And that's what we do. And that's our purpose. So that's my answer. I want to thank you, Angie, and the team again today for having us in the audience. It's been a pleasure to talk to everybody.
Thank you. It's been a true joy of having this opportunity. Thank you, everybody who joined us. Thank you, amazing panelists, for your time and your energy and your wisdom. If anybody is interested in positions at AdventHealth, we encourage you to apply via our career page, and that information is going to be dropped for you in the chat, as well as the information, the contact information for our sourcing associate who works with these roles, as well as our recruiters. They're there and ready to assist you and walk alongside of you on your career journey to becoming part of the AdventHealth family. Again, thank you so much. And everybody, take good care of yourselves.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.